Coming to paperback and e-readers, from the author of the critically acclaimed book The Man Crisis comes The Woman Crisis. Learn why so many women are becoming lost in their quest to have it all in The Woman Crisis. Pre-order your copy of The Woman Crisis on Amazon.com today. One of my viewers wanted to know my thoughts on the direction of male guru culture. Now, your male gurus have been popping up all over social media, like the late Kevin Samuels. Now, the late Kevin Samuels was a guru to many of these young black males and even some of these black females out here who would go out here and listen to his show when it was on the air. And because they thought your Kevin Samuels was some sort of expert, they would go looking to get advice from a Kevin Samuels as related to numerous topics as related to relationships. Now, after your Kevin Samuels wound up passing away, this left a major void on black social media, and there have been a whole lot of people trying to fill the void as related to the whole male guru and the whole being an expert talking about the whole subject of relationships. Now, what I see as related to the direction of male guru culture is that it's not going to go in a good direction because a lot of these males out here are not looking to help lead men to go out here and take a positive direction in their lives. And with many of these so-called male gurus, many of these males really don't have much expertise as related to many of the areas that they are talking about on these online platforms. So you have a lot of these black males like the late Kevin Samuels going out here. They're leading people, but there is like the blind leading the blind, and everybody is falling into a ditch. Because many of the so-called male gurus, while they go out here and can talk a good game online, they really don't some cases have the life experience to discuss certain subjects, or some of them really don't go out here and do the research as related to certain subjects. So you're really not going on any sort of data that is based on fact with a lot of these guys. No, in some cases you have some of these guys leading people based on their own personal opinions, and in some cases they are leading them based on their own emotions, and this is what can lead a large group of men to wind up falling in a ditch. And this is what I believe happened with a lot of black males as related to following the late Kevin Samuels. A lot of black males wanted to believe that your Kevin Samuels was some sort of expert on relationships similar to that of a Steve Harvey, and they wanted to buy into his high value man philosophy based on his appearance when he put on that expensive suit and he played the music. But even with all of that flash, he never really gave black men any sort of substantive advice. But because this man was popular on social media, people wanted to follow him because he presented his image in a way that appeared to be attractive to them. But every time people went out here and challenged the late Kevin Samuels, what happened was instead of people having him defend himself and his own theories, you got this what I call the high value cult, and this cult went out here and refused to answer any questions or even refused to have Kevin Samuels questioned at all. So when it comes down to this whole male guru culture that we have here, it is turning, with all of these individuals, it seems like it turns into a cult. And that cult, what it does is it's a place where many of these men want to go out here and believe in a man like a Kevin Samuels. And a guy like Kevin Samuels, they don't want anybody to question his approaches. They don't want anybody to question his talking points. And they don't want anybody to question the ideas he is presenting to the discourse. And that is what makes these male gurus into a cult-like group, because only in cults can you go out here and not disagree with that individual. You cannot go out here and present a counterpoint to that individual. And what's scary is that many of these individuals, they want to believe in this individual because they have formed an emotional attachment to that individual, because that individual is telling them exactly what they want to hear. And because these people are caught up in their feelings about the appearance of this individual and them telling them what they want to hear, you cannot really have an intelligent discourse with that individual. And that's what makes the male guru culture turn into a cult. And when you have individuals who can be led in a cult, that's a very dangerous thing. And that's why I see the direction of your so-called male guru culture going in a bad direction, because many of these males, the big problem with most of them I'm seeing is that many of these males have never had a father. They have never had a father to give them guidance, and because they're desperate for any sort of male figure to pay them attention, they attach to these so-called gurus on social media, and they form emotional attachments with these individuals, and they put these individuals on pedestals. And as they're putting these individuals on pedestals, you can't question anything that they say, and that's a really bad direction for a man to go in, because if you're dealing with another man who is not your father, you should have a right to question that individual. You should have a right to challenge their talking points, and you should be able to present facts to that individual so that both of you can learn and you can be open to different information that will allow you to grow. Now, when it comes down to, again, these individuals with these gurus, again, they only have one idea, and you have to follow by that idea. So you have different in groups of these individuals. Like, you have people who want to follow the late Kevin Samuels and the high value man narrative. You have these passport bros who want to follow the passport narrative. And then you have your save yourself black man who wants to follow the SYSBM ideology. And you have all of these different groups led by different gurus. And what's really interesting is that many of these gurus, again, they present their philosophies, but these philosophies sadly cannot be challenged. And that's what's scary about these gurus, is that these people, they push narratives, and they mostly push narratives because this is a way for them to sell to whatever group they're selling their ideology through their books, through their live streams, through whatever media they are presenting. And it is no different than what a pastor does at a church when he's out here with his mostly black female congregation. He'll go out here and use that church to push his books instead of pushing the gospel. And as these people buy into these religions, what happens is that they wind up buying into ideas that are not constructive or healthy for them. So you'll have them buying into ideas told to them by an individual, and that's really dangerous, because you're listening to the opinion of one individual instead of going out here and being able to question or challenge ideas that are presented to you. Because anybody who presents talking points like I do in books like Stop Simping and The Man Crisis, you should be able to question and challenge those ideas. And you should be able to question and challenge those ideas if you have information that you believe will allow you to present a counterpoint. But these individuals, they don't want anybody to challenge their counterpoint. No, they just want to attack other individuals who disagree with their talking points, and they want to go out here and attack anybody who questions their ideas. And that's the danger of today's gurus. Today's gurus want to present ideas to people and have them following them without ever going out here and doing what a good leader does, and that is listening if there is a counterpoint that allows you to present a wider and more discourse that helps people grow to become better people. And that's the most dangerous part of these male gurus. They are no different, again, than your pastors or your pickup artists of the past. No, many of your male gurus who are a part of this culture, they are no different than your pastors who go out here and look to fleece the flock by telling them that they're going to get a blessing, getting them into a covert contract with them, not God Himself. They get them to give them 10% of their money, and then after they get them to give them 10% of their money, they just keep stringing them along, giving them wishful thinking. And the same thing is here with the so-called relationship gurus like the late Kevin Samuels, the Passport Bros, and many others. They want to sell you a narrative, get you involved in a covert contract, and then get you out here spending your money chasing a dream. And again, as you chase the dream, you don't understand that you're caught up in a nightmare, and that nightmare is a place where you're not thinking for yourself critically. No, you're just running on emotion, spending money to continue listening to this so-called guru. And as you continue to listen to the guru, and they keep selling you on their next product, what you're doing is buying into that whole narrative, hoping for something better, and hoping for, and most importantly, something easy, because that's what the guru wants to do, is sell you on something easy, not letting you know how hard things are going to be. Because in order to go out here and get real change, you're going to have to go through real pain. And this is something that the gurus and the relationship experts don't want you to do. They don't want you to put in the work. What they want to do is sell you on the shortcut. And as they're selling you on their shortcut by getting you to buy whatever they're selling, you're the one who winds up short, because whatever they're selling you isn't going to effectively get you to grow, and all you're going to do is waste precious time that you could have in your life. But the direction of many of these male gurus is what's going to happen to them is they're going to lose their credibility, like the late Kevin Samuels lost a lot of his credibility even before he passed, when he refused to stand up for his ideology in front of Nicki Minaj. Now, your Kevin Samuels had talked about how ratchet black women were. However, when he had to go face to face with Nicki Minaj and stand up for his ideology, he didn't stand up for his ideology. No, he went out here and acquiesced to Nicki Minaj, and that basically compromised his entire platform. Now, your Kevin Samuels, again, many of his followers will say, oh, he was doing that as an opportunity to get into Hollywood. But no, if you truly believe in your whole ideology, you're going to have the integrity to stand up for your ideology, and you're not going to worry about getting on a national stage, because what will get you on a national stage is your integrity. If you have the integrity to go out here and stand up to people like Nicki Minaj, your Kevin Samuels would have managed to establish his credibility, because people would have saw him as a man who had the backbone and the stones to stand up for what he believes in. And that's where many of your gurus are going to wind up falling apart, because all somebody's going to do is offer them some money and or an opportunity that they want to advance, and they're going to compromise many of their ideals. And this is where many of your male gurus and their whole culture of leading people is going to lead them into a ditch, because many of these men will compromise their beliefs in order to get whatever they want, whether it be fame like the late Kevin Samuels was trying to get, or trying to move up to a different level on a social ladder, many of the male gurus will compromise their beliefs if the price is right. And that's why you shouldn't be following a male guru like a cult member. You should be out here following the Most High God, because the Most High God is not a man. The Most High God does not lie, and he is the greatest leader you could ever follow, because he, again, is not a man and cannot lie, whereas men are fallible. They are born in sin, and to follow a man is like the blind leading the blind, because you're going to fall into a ditch following these male gurus. And all these male gurus, again, all they want to do is make a fast dollar at the hand of any person. So that's why this whole male guru and male guru culture, it goes around and comes around every couple of decades. I mean, I remember in the early 2000s, you had your Steve Harvey running around here with his book, Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man, and that book was debunked. And after that book was debunked, your Steve Harvey went from being a relationship expert to being a host on Family Feud. And we haven't seen Steve Harvey write another book after his first book was debunked. And we probably won't hear from many of these other relationship experts, either whether they get debunked or they find another hustle where they can make a fast dollar. Because, again, this isn't about helping men improve their quality of life. This is all about making a fast dollar off of men and women, selling them some get date quick scheme, or get a man quick scheme, or get a woman quick scheme, and get you talking about relationships. Because, again, as you get emotional, you're out here spending money, and as they make their fast money, they have a way to go out here and make a fast buck until their next hustle. Now, I'm hoping that this gives the viewer my thoughts on these male gurus, because they requested this video. And if you want to request a video, you can send a donation to the Cash App by clicking the link in the description box. And if I know something about that subject, I will make that video for you. Now, if you want to pick up some of my books on the SJS Direct imprint on men's issues, you can pick up all of those books on Amazon.com and other online booksellers. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and Kindle, Stop Simping in Cyberspace. Learn how to avoid predatory females like Instagram models and e-girls in their virtual con games with Stop Simping in Cyberspace. Get your copy of Stop Simping in Cyberspace in paperback and Kindle today.